you can start developing principles of high performance leadership. So this to me is like the ultimate upgrade. If we were going to go from, 5% brain capacity, we're going to go to, 10% brain capacity through an iconic upgrade. That's what I feel like I've had in the last 5 years working with Mike. And this is the principle of high performance. I don't need to tell you because it's just such an obvious thing, but when individuals perform better, the company performs better. You get better results when individuals are doing things. This is the technology that we are using at the moment. And if we're underutilizing it, we're not getting the results that we want. So then we say, we're not getting the results we want from our technology. We need to do that instead. No, we need to work with the technology that we have. And, I know we're not robots, we're not technology, but for me, that's the analogy. It's like work on ourselves and work on what makes us better. Companies that have purpose, that have imagination, and that have high performance leaders get better financial results. That is an absolute fact. Maybe I don't need to tell you that, but to me, there is a financial implication to making sure that our human technology is working best for us. So what prevents us from human high performance leadership? Dragons. So dragons, headless dragons in this case. Dragons, Mike says, are real or perceived issues. They're obstacles that stop us performing at our best. Sometimes they're outside, they're external. There's somebody who stops us doing this. There's two of us and we're competitors and we're going for the same job. That person is the obstacle. But mostly it's inside. Mostly it's internal. And it's anything that might bother you. Anything you say, that bothers me, is something that is stopping us from becoming high performance leaders. So these might be like limiting beliefs or things that we believe about some form of obstacle. And we've talked about fears. So those sorts of things are really the internal stuff that stops us from moving forward. Some of these things we can deal with efficiently. So we can deal with them however you choose to deal with them. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this is usually how I've dealt with them. I'm like, that person is the person to blame. This is why I'm not performing, because this person is not done. I remember doing a deal, an IPO, because that's what we did, listing on AIMS and listing on the AIM market. And I remember always, the partner I was working for, always blaming the accountant. And I noticed myself doing that recently. I was like, this is interesting. I'm blaming somebody. I mean, I can blame them. That's not a helpful way of looking at these dragons. I need to find a solution to the dragon. So my pattern was always blaming other people. I distracted myself with alcohol. Not to the point where I numbed out, not to the point where I was like this, but like to the point of numbing myself and not having to deal with the issue, and that's not helpful. And I stayed busy. Like the workaholic, particularly for lawyers, it's like constantly on that grind of got to do better, got to do more. And I just gave myself more work to do. And then I perfected my image so that nobody saw me in a bad light. So everybody saw me as this, super successful person. And by the way, on LinkedIn, that's probably still the image that you have. But I avoided telling other people about what was going on, all these dragons that were there in the corner, my business is not making any money. Like, I can't tell people that. I can't tell people that I'm struggling or that my client's not paid me. Those are the things I cannot tell people. I hated people thinking that I was a failure. I hated people thinking that I wasn't perfect. And these things are blocks to being super creative, because it's only when you're open, and it may not be open, there's an appropriate time and an appropriate forum, but when you start communicating things to people and showing people up, showing who you really are, your creativity goes through the roof.